Hello there. Once again, it's Anton from Anton Bay. Thank you for stopping by the collection room. It is currently being overhauled right now. And as I was overhauling, I came across these and realized, man, I loved this comic book and I really wanted to just talk about it a little bit. You see this particular first issue is a little rough. It's got some missing off that because I'm pretty sure this is the one I bought off the newsstand back in the day, which was a long time ago. So this is Age of Apocalypse, Enter Now the Age of Apocalypse, the Astonishing X-Men. I started reading X-Men comics, mainstream stuff, basically when the Age of Apocalypse started. I read the Age of Apocalypse, and then I got to filter the rest of the X-Men universe backwards from it, if that makes any sense. The only thing I had read before this was some X-Men Adventures. So this was so good to me. This was one of my absolute favorite comic books of all time. One of my favorite stories of all time. I can't even express how much I love it and how much reverence I have for it. I think it was one of the greatest story arcs ever done. And it happens to be done by Joe Madureira in the art, which was... I mean, he did a lot of the covers. He did a lot of the insides. I don't think every one of these, was Maddie work. But a lot of it was. This clearly is. So I have read these so many stinking times. I love the way they do Sabretooth. I love Storm's look. I pretty much love everybody's look in the AOA more than I do in the standard Marvel Universe most of the time. And this also gave me one of my favorite characters of all time, which is Clarice Ferguson, Blink. And then as I picked up more comics and back issues, I realized that she had been killed and was dead and was not an actual character in the Marvel Universe because she had passed away. So that was a bummer, and I didn't know I would be seeing her again until the later Exiles series. But I don't even think that that is the same Clarice Ferguson. So these are absolutely gorgeous, and I remember the story so well. Like, it was just a stellar story. This is pretty much the setup. Everyone is getting assigned their different missions. You can see that Gambit is getting assigned his mission. Him and the Externals will be going off in their own book. He still has feelings for Rogue. Rogue is married to Magneto, who looks fantastic. Kurt Wagner is getting his mission assignment for Excalibur. And the teams, the main X-Men teams, are splitting up. This is kind of a big kickoff book to the rest of it, and it's just really, really well done. Of course, Bishop, the X-Men out of time, and because he's out of sequence of time, he was not affected. He's the only one who remembers the world as it should have been. And that is the first issue of Astonishing X-Men. And it's not, I mean, it's good, but it does mostly just set up. So they really start picking up in X-Men, Astonishing X-Men 2. We get to their first mission. Rogue is the leader of the ground team, which is just beautifully done. She is fantastic. Of course, we have Sunfire here, doing very, very good. Definitely damaged from his time in the AOA. I would have said for the longest time that this was my favorite of the Age of Apocalypse books. But as time has moved on, as much as I love this story, I mean, if it's not still my favorite, the next close second would have to be Factor X. That series is just insanely good, which has so much more lore to it than the rest. This, though, I mean, as far as the art goes, nothing's going to top Joe Mad work, especially with Blink and Sabretooth, the father-daughter relationship there. That is just, I absolutely love it. I never really understood the weird why Kyle, Wild Child, is all weird and feral and he carries him around like a pet. That part I don't ever remember really being explained. And I mean, he was a feral character from Alpha Flight, and I just always thought, man, why is he like this? I also thought it was kind of weird for well, I loved this villain, Holocaust. He's a terrible, scary villain. But the fact that they changed his name to Nemesis, I thought was kind of lame. I'm like, Holocaust, the word, just conjures up the absolute worst atrocities that humanity has ever probably had. And so to have your character name that, dude, it made sense. That guy was absolutely terrifying. Scott Lobdell plot, Joe Madureira pencils. These were the guys still working on the regular book, the series from X-Men at the time, and two of my favorite people working together. That is an amazing picture. That is awesome work. We can put on a show, snap. I always loved that line. They gotta find Mr. Creed. I always loved how Claris called him Mr. Creed. And he is, you know, basically dead at the hands of Holocaust. Which, you know, it occurs to me, all the great figures we've gotten, they made one or two, maybe two Holocaust figures, but we never got a good one. We got a pretty good one from the Toy Biz line, but the gun hand was wrong. The big blaster fist was different and not correct. But I don't remember us ever getting a different version of this figure. I love this flashback. It's basically just how they find little Claris at the time and rescue her. That was pretty cool. Can you do it, Bishop? The weird nanny bot, Infinites. Oh yes, there was so much going on with this. Oh yes, and Morph turning into a whale. And how do I not remember this Barbie ad? Probably because Morph turning into a whale was so distracting I never saw the Barbie ad. How would that be? That's highly likely. And a giant squid, or giant octopus. A chilling, sad final page. And you can see his like exposed ribs. So it is ghastly and sad and like terrible. It's one of those last pages of a comic book that just knocks the wind out of you before you get to the next issue. And then you finally get it and you're like, oh my gosh, look at this cover. And I have heard some people complain about Rogue's hair from the AOA, and they're wrong. That is some great hair. That's not even Karen hair. The poof doesn't matter. I think it's great. Followed up with a beautiful, absolutely beautiful opening page of Blink in all of her. Oh, I forgot. It comes the second, a really good follow-up page too. Total face-off. Character with incredibly underrated powers is Blink, and a very underutilized character. I really wish that, well, what can you say? We got her in Exiles, and what more could you really get than that? I didn't really care for the Exiles book. The only reason I ever had any of it was because it had Claris in it pretty regularly as like the leader. And it also had Magic, not Dead. And I appreciated having some of my favorite Dead characters functioning on a team together. There was a bunch of characters and a bunch of dumb plot twists that we didn't need with that book, but it is what it is. Holocaust, the first horseman of Apocalypse. Great power stance for Rogue. A lot of these as a teenager, I tried drawing so much of these. I sat and sketched, and I used these as reference. And so some of these shots in here just have tons of meaning for me, especially where this was my introduction to these characters. And like, that is, like I said, that was my first taste of a lot of these characters. So it was very difficult for me to transition to a regular Marvel Universe. I mean, for years, years, after my AOA experience, I could not trust Colossus at all. It took me forever. You know, my friends were like, that was just an Elseworld story, that doesn't count. I'm like, well, it does to me. Anyway, that is Astonishing X-Men 1 through 4. That is all of them. That is the end of the storyline. It finishes out in some other books, but I don't recall looking at any other Astonishing X-Men this in-depth, or any other AOA this in-depth. So I wanted to do this book. We'll get to the rest, I think. We'll see how this one does. I love this series. I'm not going to say enough. I'm not going to like, I don't think I have anything negative to say about any of them. Every book within the AOA system, the AOA line was top shelf to me, and all of them were so beautifully intertwined. It is literally one of the most perfect comic book stories, and it's not even on newsprint. It's on the gloss pages. So anyway, that's my story. Thank you guys for watching. I'm gonna fanboy out on these because I absolutely love them, but catch you guys later. Bye.